Healthcare. I've been there for 17 years and I've been a nurse for over 14. I live on a 10-acre farm. We do a lot of gardening and we have chickens and kids and all that good stuff. One who's sitting in the back who used to be in the Wings program. I was also the COVID test site supervisor for MU Healthcare at the drive-through. I held lots of hands, climbed in cars, wiped tears, and talked with thousands of people during some of the hardest times of their lives. While this was some of the hardest and longest days of my life, I grew exponentially in my professional life and personal life, and I also still have not had the COVID virus, even with having 3 active cases within my home. So, let's talk some statistics. As of yesterday, the CDC shows 1,001,269 deaths in the U.S., with California state having the most at just over a little 91,000. Missouri has 20,000 deaths, and 250 of those being right here in Boone County. What types of words would you use to describe March of 2020? This is when the pandemic first started. Young people were being sent home and to stay home into summer vacations. Families were canceling vacations and the world was shutting down. Some of the words that I would describe would be scared, worried, anxious about the unknown, hopeless, tired, and lonely. What words would you use to describe January of 2021? This is when the vaccine was starting to come out. We were having vaccination type clinics. Some of the words I would use would be matured, aged, still worried, some light at the end of the tunnel, and still lonely. Some words that I would use to describe today: happy, end of an era, but most of all, resilient. The definition of resilience is a person or animal able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult situations or conditions. So the pandemic, obviously that affected everyone. Unless you were living under a rock, you were affected. I feel like the biggest group of people in society that were affected were our young people. So several of you sitting in the audience today. Young people felt the pressure and strain of an ever-changing world. While most of us faced anxiety and adversity as adults, our young people were left with the same feelings without understanding. Students across the nation within our school district had to learn how to adapt and be resilient as the world started drastically changing and in a hurry. I still remember the phone call from the superintendent, which that was about 2 weeks after the COVID drive-through test actually set up. We had about 36 hours to set up a drive-through in the elements. We were at the softball field for about 6 months. So from March until August, we went through everything: rain, snow, ice, tornado warnings, trash cans flying across the parking lot. You name it, 99 degrees weathers, we were in it. But you guys were left at home, worried, not understanding what was going on with the pandemic, not being able to ask questions because who in your family or household has lived through a pandemic? No one, okay? Unless they're about 100 years old, no one in your house has lived through a pandemic. As young people learn and grow, we teach them valuable life lessons. How to change a tire, how to do a load of laundry, and if you don't know, please go home and ask your mom or your dad. How to make ramen noodles in the microwave without making a mess. But no one was able to teach you how to live through a pandemic. We can teach you how to drive, we can teach you how to be respectful, and we can teach you how to brush your teeth. And hopefully you're doing that 2 minutes twice a day. But we cannot teach you how to be resilient in a pandemic. You found that within yourself. It is something we have to learn from within. Young people, including you in the audience, have had to dig deep to find that resilience and strength to continue moving forward. While several of you had or have feelings of anxiety, doubt, depression, loneliness, others rose to the occasion, which in turn helped their peers to do the same. There are multiple examples of where young people came together to make a difference in the lives of others, especially during the pandemic. Young people had to learn how to teach themselves, March 2020 through now even. Sometimes they had to teach their siblings. I know my son was very excited that he would be a homeschool teacher at the age of, 15. And some of you even had to teach your educators. This was a different world. We went from in-seat learning to online learning to sometimes in-seat to sometimes online, but you guys were resilient through all of that. As young people, you develop the skills you need to grow and overcome adversity. Even with feelings of doubt, loneliness, being on the forefront, you grew to be resilient. I didn't do that for you. Mrs. Rogers didn't do that for you. Your mom and dad didn't do that for you. That's something you learned and grew. While learning and growing looked very different during the pandemic, our young people grew more resilient. That's the best word to describe how our young people have come and grown. COVID-19 has made our young people learn a lot of things. How to adapt and do it quickly. How to use and make TikTok videos, which I still don't know how to make a TikTok video, but. And most importantly, how to grow and become more resilient. Our young people learn and grow every day, overcoming obstacles as things around them are constantly changing. There's no other way to describe the ins and outs of a young person growing up in today's world but being resilient. Thank you.